All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started here. I know we still have some folks that are going to be joining, but want to make sure we get you started on time and off to the rest of your day and on time as well. So good morning, and thank you for joining us for day 2 of our virtual corporate partnership summit. We definitely miss being in the same room as everyone and being able to kind of sit in the energy and um, all of your amazing company that you bring with your community engagement. But we're so glad that you were able to take the time out of your busy day, probably packed with many other Zoom meetings. So thank you for joining us on this one. But I just wanted to quickly just say hello and welcome you all here. My name is Haley Schultz. I'm the Senior Director of Community Giving here at Mile High United Way. And our team has been working really hard this past year to really ensure that the work that we're doing here as a corporate services team and a broader team at Mile High United Way is really serving the needs that you're seeing as companies, that you're seeing as corporate responsibility leaders, as chairs for giving campaigns, and so all of the other roles that you take on for your companies and in our communities. So we've really polished a number of services and ways that we can support your efforts. We've had the wonderful leadership of a corporate engagement committee led by Jason Maples, and a number of our committee members are here on our call today. But we really put together a great number of ways that we can support those efforts, including creative employee engagement opportunities, community and data-driven investments, and thought partnership along the lines that we'll be discussing today. So both starting a community engagement program from scratch, as well as reframing or refreshing your current program. So we have some amazing presenters that you'll hear from in depth in just a little bit. But before we dive in, I just wanted to make sure that I thank Delta Dental of Colorado and Andrea, who's on the call this morning, for being our Virtually United sponsor this year. Delta Dental is always on the front line of change and innovation, and this support this year is really ensuring that we can engage and deliver just as well for our community virtually as we have in person for the last 132 years. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Haley, for opening up the session. Hi, everyone. I'm Grace. I will be running this session today, and I just wanted to thank you all for being here. Just a quick overview of what we'll be doing today. So after we finish our welcome introductions of our fantastic speakers, we'll go into the basics of building and refining your program. And then we'll try to spend as much time as possible in 2 breakout rooms. One for people who are really in the beginning of their CSR journey, and then another one for people who are part of a company that might already have a program but are looking to refine or refresh that program a little bit. So it would be incredibly helpful if you can think about which room you'd like to be in and just drop that in the chat, and that will help us sort you into the correct room later on. And thanks again for being here. So I want to introduce our 2 special guests today. I am thrilled to be working with them. We are joined by Andrea Miller. She's the Corporate Social Responsibility Manager at Delta Dental of Colorado. And we're also joined by Amber Peacher, who is the Client Operations Specialist at Optiv and also spearheads a lot of their CSR efforts. So thank you, ladies, for being here. We are very excited to have you.
Good morning.
So we'll start with the basics. What's CSR? I'm sure a lot of you know what it is, but we'll just start with a quick definition. Corporate social responsibility is a continuing commitment by business to behave ethically and contribute to economic development while improving the quality of life of the workforce and their families, as well as of the local community and society at large. So, sorry about that. There's too many screens. There we go. So all in all, a successful community engagement program adds value to both the business and the community. It's connecting employees authentically with causes they care about, and it's enabling them to have a positive impact in their communities. A successful program also incorporates the basic tenets of corporate social responsibility in a very genuine and committed way. It's focused on impacting change in ways that make sense by lining up those activities with business goals, employee interests, and community needs. It focuses on stakeholders and not just shareholders. A lot of people, and I'm sure you guys have all run into this when trying to get CSR started at your company. Why should we do this? Investing in your company's CSR program has a whole host of benefits, just a few of which are listed here. A corporate social responsibility program can retain employees, help you hire top talent, and even improve your brand recognition in your community and nationally or globally. It's really easy for me to share stats and findings, but I know that firsthand, Andrea has some great experience of how a successful CSR program can change the game for a company.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Grace. It doesn't know of Colorado. I will start off by saying we're a nonprofit insurance company. So we're a 501c4. Our mission is to serve the community, and our mission is to improve the oral health of the communities we serve. We do that in two ways. One, through our foundation. Many of you are familiar with that. It is a separate 501c3 and provides grant-making opportunities across the state. And the second one is our corporate social responsibility program. And as Grace talked about, and all the things you see there on the screen, we had a program called Community Benefit, then it became Community Engagement when I came into the company, and now we call it Corporate Social Responsibility. It's grown substantially to the point where we needed a Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility, and we welcomed Deep Khan in January to help grow our program even more. We see the benefit of brand and company image, recruitment and retention with employees. We work with a host of fantastic brokers and members, and we wanted to support them where they are in their community journey. So we wanted to expand the program, and going to corporate social responsibility just made sense for all of those business cases. I think corporate social responsibility has grown. It's still a younger field, but it's grown a lot where people would think, oh, it's giving, it's that charity element, it's that feel-good team building. Those are both true. But it can be seen as a little bit of fluff. And now, corporate social responsibility is a legitimate established field that helps revenue, the bottom line, like as I said, recruitment and retention, employee morale and productivity. Just so many benefits of why you should do corporate social responsibility.
Thanks, Andrea. So before we start diving into the details, we're going to start with the basics of building a great community engagement program, because in order to build on it, you need to have a really, really strong foundation. So these are a couple of things that we think you should ask yourself and ask your company before you get started. So what's your purpose? Why are you building a CSR program? Are your colleagues asking for it? Has leadership requested it? Is it a competitive advantage in your sector? So if you know the purpose for running a CSR program, it will help you choose the right building blocks, which we'll go over, and help keep your program focused as you grow. Another important thing to think about is, what is the unique value that you and your company bring to this space? Do you have certain knowledge, skills, or expertise that can be used to make a difference? For a really concrete example, if you're a residential construction company, you know a lot about building and navigating that space. So you can help build houses for low-income families, you can lend your knowledge to first-time home buyers, or you can even donate materials or your time to a group like Habitat for Humanity. When you figure out your company's values, it helps you pick a cause and pillars that really drive business and impact at the same time. And then last, of course, is goals and impact. What do you hope to accomplish? How will you know that this program is successful? What are your goals and how are you going to measure them? And this one goes really far, especially with the C-suite or people who might have a couple of doubts about why to do a CSR program. If you can show them data, they're going to be completely bought in. So if some companies are aiming for a certain percentage of employee participation above volunteering, they can go with that. Or some companies really just want to keep increasing the amount of money that they're doing in grant making or corporate gifts throughout the year. So if you can figure out your goals, you can measure them. Having these solid basics makes all of the difference. I know that Amber and Andrea, I'll turn it over to you. You two have been spending a lot of time with purpose and goals as you're shaping your programs.
Yeah, Amber, do you want to go first?
You might be muted. There you go.
Oh, all right. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Dang it, I fell into that Zoom trap. Good morning. Thanks for having me. The main purpose of Optiv CSR program is really to give employees an opportunity to connect with one another while connecting with their community to improve our company culture. We can definitely appreciate the traditional team building activities that we've all participated in, but in my opinion, we really needed an additional layer that truly brought coworkers together on a deeper level. And, something that made a positive impact on the community was really important to me for the company I work for. So when we talk about value, I think since we're a cybersecurity company, we are full of brilliant people, and we're really heavy on the standard, volunteerism. But now that COVID is a factor, we've sort of made this shift, and we're starting to tap into those skills of our employees and how they can virtually collaborate with nonprofits, for example, on their security posture and how we can sort of improve their environment. So I think the virtual opportunities now actually have been very beneficial for employees wanting to give their time. And when we talk about goals and impact, like I said, our main goal is to enhance our company culture and create a working environment where people feel that they have the opportunity to not only excel in their day-to-day job, but also something a little more meaningful. And right now, the way we're tracking that is really through participation numbers. And on a quarterly basis, we send out an employee satisfaction survey, and CSR is now included on that. So we're sort of tracking the feedback that we get from employees that way.
Thanks, Amber. In Delta Dental, Colorado, as I mentioned, we're a nonprofit insurance company. It's just in our DNA to give back to the community. And as I mentioned, also we had a community engagement program. We wanted to go beyond the sponsorships and volunteering and find other ways to get involved. And so I will say, as you're building your CSR program or changing and adapting your CSR program, keeping in mind that it's a continuous improvement process. That I certainly learned that over the last couple of years, going from community engagement to corporate social responsibility. You may think you have your program down pat and you have your pillars of giving and that kind of thing, and they can shift. And COVID has shown us that those things can shift, and you need to be nimble and meet the community's needs rather than being rigid and saying this is where we stand on our giving. It definitely benefits the community and your business. So we've had to look at our purpose a little bit differently as we've moved into corporate social responsibility. Our values are certainly holding the same. Do good even when no one is looking. Make today better. Make tomorrow better than today. We have some of those core corporate values, and those are woven into all of our corporate social responsibility programs. So we use those as the basis of where we're moving forward into our program. Our goals and impact, as I mentioned before, we can look at our brokers, our members, our employees. There's so many stakeholders in our world in corporate social responsibility. How can we help them? Really, corporate social responsibility to me is two things. It's relationships and it's customer service. And I serve an employee as a customer service just as much a broker or a member or a nonprofit. And so looking at those goals and those different stakeholder groups is important to say what are their motivations and needs and how can we as a company help them. And while I think for a while corporate social responsibility in its early days was a little shy to talk about profit, brand recognition and profit just come with it. It boosts your revenue. There's a study out there that shows that publicly traded companies, now we're not one of them, publicly traded companies that have a corporate social responsibility program or some kind of community impact initiative fare better on the stock market than those that don't. And it's a significant percentage. So it's proof that it isn't all just fluff, and it's not just there to serve maybe this your CEO's desires, your employees' desires. It has a bigger picture in mind. So we had to look at all of those things as we built our program and reinvented our program over and over again. And I think we're going to continue to do so as we have strong leadership.
Thanks, Andrea. And I would love to see that report. If you'd like to share that, we can always include it in the follow-up to this presentation, because I would love to read that. That's a strong case. So like I mentioned a little bit earlier, and we've kind of touched on this, and Amber and Andrea have too, how are you picking your building blocks? the beauty of building and refining your own program is that you get to decide what it looks like. It doesn't have to look exactly like any other company's program. It has to make sense for you. So once you have that strong foundation grounded in your purpose and your value and your goals, you can decide what potential pieces fit best. So companies can do things like investing through grants, giving corporate gifts, matching employee gifts and volunteer time, providing pro bono services, or sponsoring events. We see these a lot of the time. These are very common. And this is often how CSR gets started in a company. They might do an event sponsorship and then want to do more. Employees also have power. So how they can support is through personal giving, if you run an employee giving campaign, in-kind donation drives, and volunteering their time. And a really important part of employee engagement is understanding how you're recognizing and rewarding them for getting involved. And companies can also choose to engage in influencing policy or making their business greener through sustainability initiatives. Those are just sometimes a little bit later in the consideration, but we love to see people really engaging in larger scale policy to make big change that will actually influence the programs they invest in. These are all options, and again, every program looks different based on your unique goals and assets of your company. So grants might make more sense for a company that has a foundation, like Dental, while a retailer like Target might opt in to focus their efforts on in-kind gifts. So I know Amber and Andrea, you'll have a lot to say about this, so I'll just turn it over to you.
Sure, I'll take the turn to start this time. So we make the joke at Delta Dental that we were great at toothbrushes and galas. We're not shy about that. We were doing a lot of cool festivals and runs and just had a blast giving out toothbrushes, and that's how our employees volunteered. And then we were doing a lot of sponsorships, and they were around events. And we've backed away from both of those things, not because we didn't like them and they weren't making an impact. We wanted our volunteers, our employees, to actually volunteer in the community. And so we started a robust volunteer program, and then also spruced up our sponsorships to include some galas, because yeah, let's talk about it. They're networking. They're good ways for people to meet each other, to get that brand exposure, and a lot of nonprofits rely on that gala or golf tournament revenue to support the operations, to support their core mission. So they're not always a bad thing. We just wanted to support nonprofits in a different way. So we've broadened our portfolio of how we give. We've added in a lot of these features. And I will say, if you are here to listen to how to build a program, don't start with all of them that are on the screen. That's overwhelming. I'm always a fan of doing something really well, just doing a couple of things really well and then adding on. But having those big dreams and thinking in that continuous improvement towards making those changes. Delta Dental of Colorado is moving offices in mid-October. In the middle of COVID. It's a lot of fun. And we're adding a sustainability program. We're using this opportunity to add a lot of features both in the office design and construction, but also with our employees. So we're really excited about being able to add that in there. As I said about the festivals, we haven't stopped giving away those toothbrushes. We just do it in a different way. We gave 10,000 toothbrushes, paste and floss to Dental Rescue Mission, 10,000 toothbrushes, paste and floss to Metro Caring. We're giving away those toothbrushes to where they're really needed. So it is a matter of just saying, where can we fit? Do we have products that people can use? Do we have a service that people can use? Our IT team loves to volunteer and do Zoom trainings and all kinds of cool things. So there's some skills-based volunteering. It's just a matter of thinking about what assets you have and then matching them up with what you can do to start a CSR program.
All right, so when Optiv CSR program grows up, we would like to be like Delta Dental. We have 1 full year under our belt of the CSR program, so we're really in the process of laying the foundation and educating our employee base for what we hope to become a large piece of our culture. We're focusing on internal initiatives such as volunteerism and laying that on pretty thick and just making that our focus for now. We do have a goal of adding corporate matching, pro bono services, and really collaborating with our big partners so we can make a larger impact in our community. But like Andrea said, we are planning right now to pick a few of these future topics and not all of them, because we know we won't successfully be able to implement them all at once. So building blocks is a really great way to explain this. We have big dreams, but we know we have to crawl before we walk, and establishing this base of employee knowledge is really important to us.
Thanks, Amber. I think it's easy to say, oh my gosh, we have all these great ideas and we want to do all these things, but it's always good to be reminded that sometimes it's easier to just start with fewer things and do them well. I need to remember that too in my own life. Just a couple more things that we wanted to touch on today that are just really important considerations. When you're working to support your community, you'll inevitably need to partner with a nonprofit. So it's really important that when you choose a partner organization, whether it's for a one-off event or for a longer-term partnership, that you consider their public image. You know, you will be inextricably tied to your partnership with this nonprofit in a lot of ways, and you want to make sure that you're partnering with someone you trust and someone that the community trusts. So you can check out sites like Charity Navigator and GuideStar that will help you understand more about how a nonprofit operates. And you can also get a rating based on important factors like finances and impact. And of course, you can talk to a trusted partner like Mile High United Way. We work with hundreds of nonprofits in the area, and we are more than happy to help recommend great partner organizations for you. Another thing to think about before I turn it back over to our speakers is what's driving your program. So is it being driven by your employees' causes or really the company's goals? A lot of the time, the programs might start out as, you know, company driven and then become a hybrid of the two approaches. It really depends on what works for your workforce. I know Andrea and Amber will have a lot to say about this, so I'll turn it over to Andrea.
Yeah, so we are an employee-driven program with corporate social responsibility. It hasn't always been that way. Again, using those shifts and finding out what really fits. We do partner with Mile High United Way and love that when we work with them on virtual volunteering opportunities like the Day of Caring or the Broncos Day of Service, we feel confident that the program is going to be produced well and that the partners we're working with need the support. So that's always great to find those partners. Grace has the logos up there of the Better Business Bureau and GuideStar and Charity Navigator. Those are really great resources to look to make sure that if you have an employee matching gift program, that employees are giving to organizations that are on the up and up, that they know their gifts are secure and going to be used in the right way. So it just is a matter of making those choices. Our team members, we call our employees team members. Our team members like that we are more employee driven than we have in the past with our matching gift program and with our focus on the things that they care about. I will say the foundation is focused solely on oral health and improving oral health and overall health access to care. And they have a statewide initiative. Our CSR program has made a strategic choice to focus really on front range volunteer opportunities and organizations. So those are some of just the nuances of things to think about while you're building your program.
Awesome. So Optiv is actually the complete opposite. Since we are experiencing our first formal CSR program build, we are very company-led with a lot of input from our executives to really align with our business strategies. We wanted to make sure that we were connecting with our executives because we knew that we needed their support to push this throughout all of the teams at Optiv. And after originally speaking with our CEO, we started building out the structure, and we wanted to make sure that we were presenting a very clear vision and mission to all of our employees. You know, we are a security company, so all of our pillars have a focus on securing our community in one form or another. And we really wanted to package this up, put a bow on it for each employee so it was easier to digest and understand where we wanted this to fit in. We definitely want to make this shift in the future where we can start gathering employee feedback to understand where they would like to see Optiv and our involvement in the communities, and also start rewarding them and seeing, you know, how they're giving back to their communities on their personal time. But we thought it would be most successful if we put everything together, presented it, and then worked from there to start adding in that collaboration with employees.
Great. I love that you two have such different perspectives, and I'm so excited for these breakout sessions, which we will get to in a minute, I promise. But this was a really great point brought up by Andrea when we were working on this and planning this together. You know, we can talk about the details and the kind of the fun stuff of a community engagement program for hours, but we need to think about how in the world are you going to run this program? You know, how are you going to keep track of it? Who's going to do it? So the biggest question is who's going to do it? So you either have a dedicated staff member like Andrea, or you have an incredibly passionate person like Amber who takes this on top of their day job. So it's common to have one or either of those and have a board of volunteers that also help. I know that both of you have that. So it's also really common to have more than just one staff member get involved. And it's also a great idea if you have, you know, just a new program or one or two staffers working on this, or a volunteer board. We here at Mile High United Way on the corporate team are here to help you add capacity to that program. Like that is what we are here for. That is the work that at least gets me out of bed in the morning. And we love doing this with you guys. So, you know, if you're starting to build or something is new to you, please rely on us or amazing people like Andrea and Amber. This is really a community. And then also, and I know that Amber has some funny things about Excel spreadsheets to share about this, but how are you running the program? How are you tracking it? Are you using Excel spreadsheets to track participation? Do you have a management platform? Do you have a year-long calendar? Do you have a partnership with Mile High United Way? These are all great things that can really add structure to your program and help you run it more efficiently. And again, everyone does it a little bit differently, but there are really, really important things to consider. And now that I've teased it, I'll turn it over to Amber to talk about her spreadsheets.
Oh, yes, I cannot stand Excel spreadsheets. So a couple things that are on my future list here is I would love to have a dedicated role at Optiv to focus on CSR, because I think once it starts to take off, we really are going to need an established team, or at least me being able to take that on by myself. And right now, how we track things is all through Excel. And I learned that Andrea is using Excel as well. So it made me feel a little better that in my mind, I was like, oh gosh, we're so unorganized, and like this is how we do it. And it's so sad that we don't have a giving platform. But then Andrea was like, no, that's how we do it too. So knowing that an established program is doing it the same way makes me feel a little better. But this all started, I really love Optiv and I love working for them. And at the time, I'd been there for about 7 years. And I like what I do, but I was really wanting to pull in my personal passion of volunteering and put that into my day-to-day. And instead of, you know, seeking out a different company that had an established program, I sort of challenged myself to bring CSR to Optiv. I've built the program on top of my job, and it's really busy, but I love the work. And I truly believe it will help create an even better work environment for current and future employees. But to lighten the load, we've recently established a committee, so I've been chairing that, and it's been nice to gain input from individuals who are located all over the country and even in our India office, and they're all working in different departments to sort of spread that CSR message. So it's been really busy, but it's definitely worth it, and I can't wait to see where it goes once we have moved past this official first year of our program.
Thanks, Amber. At Delta Dental, we do have the dedicated staff, as Grace mentioned, and now we've grown our staff with welcoming Adib to the team. We do have a CSR committee, and I will say, if anything, if you have staff or not, that forming that committee to help you be your ambassadors, they know the other employees really well. They know their motivations and their interests, whether it's volunteering outdoors, indoors, volunteering once a quarter, once a month. They can help you serve as those ambassadors for the team. So I would definitely suggest creating a committee. And we talked about running the program because there's a lot of logistics. I feel like I'm a systems person. I'm systems and efficiency, and how can we do this better and more efficient and help people out? And so creating that platform, even if it is in Excel, helps move things along. We're moving to a giving platform and a volunteer platform. Salesforce Philanthropy Cloud is one good option. It puts the employee in the driver's seat. They get to log on and find their volunteer options. They get a give, and they can set a matching gift option to your Mile High United Way campaign or another organization, just kind of set it and forget it. So those programs have a lot of value, and we're moving towards that. But right now, yep, we use Excel and it works just fine for us. Putting together that year-long calendar, if you're going to volunteer 4 times a year, let your employees know about that. Set that up for them and say, this is what you can expect. I think that unknown that people have with volunteering, or giving, can be where your program falters a little bit. Like, we haven't heard about our mission in a while. We haven't heard about what's going on with volunteering. Does this still exist? And that's not where you want your program to be. So create that calendar. And then the partnership, again, I can't say it enough, with Mile High United Way is very, very helpful. The corporate engagement program is one way to say, it's kind of like a menu. I can do these things right now, but I need a little bit of help, and Mile High United Way is there to help. So that's also part of the system, and just getting it all together.
Thank you. We are thrilled to be working with both of you, as I don't think I can say enough. So it's good to hear that you guys find value in our partnership too. So now's the moment y'all have been waiting for. We're going to go into our breakout sessions. If you haven't had a chance to drop a room in the chat, it's completely fine. We can still sort you in right now. Or if you're undecided or you decide you want a different room, just let us know. But I'm going to let Amber give a quick brief of what her room will be for.
Yeah, so I will kind of elaborate a little bit more on how Optiv CSR program has started and evolved, and some of the roadblocks and challenges, and how we have shifted and been able to maneuver around those. And I'm definitely curious to see where everyone else is in their, the beginning stages of their CSR program build.
Thanks, Amber. And Andrew, do you want to say a quick word about your room as well?
Sure. So in room 2, we're going to talk about companies that are looking to tweak, redefine, or update their program a little bit. You may have volunteering, you may have volunteered once or twice, and so now you're looking to see if you can expand that a little bit more. So any way we can make those improvements, make the business case to senior leadership, sometimes that's where you're at, where it's like, we volunteered, had a lot of fun, and now we want to make the case that this is really relevant to the business and can support it. So how do you make that case? Talk about that.
Great. Well, thank you both. Haley, if you are ready, you can send everyone to their breakout rooms.
I think we have everyone all set, so thank you.
Excellent. Just a couple questions I have, because I'm fascinated by this. So the deltas, there are 39 deltas across the country, and we all run our programs differently. We have a membership with the Delta Dental Plans Association, so it's kind of a weird corporate thing. We don't get controlled by a national office, but we have that same thing. They all look different. So I'm always fascinated when people say they have a regional or a city office, and how do they make themselves more distinct than the other. Do you and Marissa find that you're able to make that Denver flair happen, that Colorado feel with your opportunities, so that you stand out from the crowd? Just curious.
Yeah, I would say, now I see Marissa, so we'll see what she says. But I think to your point of earlier, kind of polling the employees, like for the Denver office, we're very focused on some of the outdoor experiences and kind of leaning into the Colorado feel and culture, which gets our people excited. And then also, since we're here, our partnership with United Way is probably stronger than any other office in the country. So we leverage that a lot to kind of drive us to the top of the pack in KPMG.
Nice.
Hopefully, Marissa, you agree.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would just add, I mean, I think from a national level, it seems obviously they drive a lot of the organizations that they want us to be involved with. At KPMG, our large, I would say, drive is for lifelong learning. And so we partner with a lot of organizations like that. But like Ben said, obviously in Denver, we're very lucky to be able to volunteer with a lot of organizations that are outdoor focused or things like that, that our people really, I think, maybe not get more out of, but really enjoy the volunteer aspect side of.
Excellent. So Marissa, just for the room also, do you have are you able to do separate communications to your team, and do you brand those as Denver, the Colorado feel? How does that go? Because I think communications is sometimes the challenge for everybody, even if you only have a home office here in Denver.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, our primary communications go out through our office-wide weekly email, just to kind of cut down on email traffic. We kind of have a one-stop shop weekly email, and so those are typically focused, obviously, on the Denver angle. Obviously, if we're getting things from national that we want to include or to really promote, we'll include
big things with our community. So I think I had to frame it business first, emotion second, but it's sort of evolved into this nice package that works for both sides.
Does anyone else have any questions for Amber? That's okay. Yeah, Amber, if you want to dive into one of the questions from the list I gave you, feel free to pick your favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I am actually curious where everyone is currently in your program build. Are you in the middle of it, or are you just thinking about starting it? I'm always interested to see where everyone sits in that area.
So happy to dive in if that's okay. So I'm Kirk Monroe. I am with Vector Bank Colorado. Jennifer Madden, who's also on the screen, we work together at Vector Bank. We started this effort probably 2 years ago, and it really was based on discussions that we had with our CEO, and from our perspective about taking our organization to the next level. We had been successful. I think we had a very strong desire to be significant with our community engagement and employee engagement. So we, in earnest, started this in September of last year and have been working on this for the past 12 months. We ended up with a 32-page deck of everything that we wanted to accomplish, which was way too much, and then scaled that back to about 12 pages. Did identify 4 of our guiding principles, the pillars that you referred to. And for us, that's employee impact, community focus, environmental sustainability, and ethical business. And we, again, took that 32-page deck down to 12 pages, showed it to our CEO, showed it to our extended executive committee, shared it with our advisory board, which includes the chairman of our company, back in the middle of July. And we are right now preparing to launch this with our employee base. It's been socialized to maybe 40, 50 people. We have an organization altogether about 400 to 500 people. It's our goal and intention to take this statewide. And so it was interesting, I think, Amber, you made the comment of aligning yourself with a nonprofit. I think what we are trying to do, or thinking that we'll do, is provide access to statewide nonprofits, whether that's Cortez, whether it's Grand Junction. We do have approval to allow 8 hours of volunteer paid time for all of our employees. So we will be launching that. So we're right on the cusp of taking this public and socializing it with our entire organization. We have shared it with others. There's a lot of energy and interest behind this. And you go back to the question of why and what the purpose is. People really want to get engaged with their communities and give back to their community. So for Vector Bank, that's where we are today. That's really exciting. Have you encountered any roadblocks at this point, or has it been pretty smooth sailing and you've had a lot of buy-in and pretty successful so far? The roadblock that actually propelled us was COVID. We, using Microsoft Teams, would brainstorm. Again, Jen Madden would put a document on a Teams, and then we did form a CSR committee, anywhere from 12 to 15 people, which was great for brainstorming. I kind of liken it to a funnel. So when we started this effort, everybody dumped in their ideas using words like authenticity, intentionality. We really wanted this to be true and genuine. And so we took that, and then we would meet on a monthly basis and try to push this along. And for us, we're all volunteers. We all have different day jobs for Vector Bank, but we're very committed to this. And so at the end of the day, that 12 or 15 people was whittled down to a core 6. We've created an executive council of 6 of us that are working on this every other week because we're really excited about this and where we can take this. And we've also created an advisory council of about 15 or 16 other stakeholders inside of Vector Bank that we will meet on a quarterly basis to ensure that we're all aligned with our efforts. So the roadblock was COVID, but it also propelled us because you could work on it any day of the week, any hour of the day to get us to this point. And now we're at that point where it's really exciting for us.
Yeah, that's really great. And you mentioned authenticity, and I think that is one of the major things that you have to have if you're going to launch a CSR program. I know for me, if something were to come out and it seemed as though we were just doing it because it made us look good, I don't think people are going to bite. They're not going to be interested. They're not going to participate. It's not going to be as successful. So the fact that you have sort of thought through all of those steps and making sure it is a passionate program, I think that's a huge thing to remember.
So it's interesting, Jen Madden and I were talking about this during the presentation, and we've got the why and the purpose and the impact on page 3 of our slide deck. Brand differentiator enhances customer engagement, increases employee engagement, demonstrates good community stewardship, and offers a long-term plan to have impact. It was just really neat to see that we're tracking along with the rest of you all with your CSR journey, that we're pretty much on the same page.
Yes, it's always nice when you sort of have that validation that you're doing it the right way. I mean, I think a lot of CSR builds, I think Grace mentioned, you know, every program looks different, but as long as you have that purpose and you have your goals set up and sort of a roadmap how to get there.
Hungry for solutions at this point. So anybody shout out something, what keeps you up at night? Communications, engagement, senior leadership.
Virtual engagement.
I've struggled with that one. The pressure is on to have volunteering. That's where United Way can help. You look up in their database and they have all kinds of virtual options.
Yep, absolutely. And we've participated in some and they're really, really good, whether it's in a box that's sent to you or helping you create your own lists. I think it's just getting people comfortable with it and like, no, it's really that easy. Just tell Mile High United Way that you want to do a hygiene kit and it shows up at your door. It's been really cool.
Thanks for sharing. Ben?
I would say reporting, which we also know United Way is very helpful with, but like we're doing the Civic 50 application and right, that it is so painful internally to find the data that we need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same, doing the Civic 50 application too. And yeah, that's Delta Dental Plans Association in Chicago has us do this really cumbersome report, and sometimes I'm cursing at it because it's my thing to do. And I grab spreadsheets and I grab PDFs and have to retype the content. You know what? That's really helping with Civic 50 because now that data is there. But during March and April, it's a pain. Reporting is difficult for everyone. I think that's where, like Salesforce Philanthropy Cloud, you know, if you arrange your Excel data just the right way, which I'm not good at, you can maybe get some queries out of it. But something like those platforms, which there are a variety of prices. You know, Benevity tends to be like the big one that Delta's not in any realm to use. So you can go as big as that to some of the smaller ones. And I feel like in the market, because we're still a younger field, it's getting better as far as price range and capacity for small companies, large companies. And that's where I'm excited to move into that kind of system and pull the data. Because right now, when our senior leadership asks for information, I'm like, give me a week and I'll get back to you. Reporting is really difficult. Anything else that's keeping you up at night or causing stress besides COVID and the desire to have a new normal? All right, now we have about a minute left. Thanks for participating. And a lot of good takeaways just from this short amount of time that we spent here. I know that Grace is going to send out some resources. Ashley, if you want to send us that if it's a program that we could all use in Denver, the 21-day program from the Minneapolis.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'd be happy to
send that out too. Steve, I will say I'll send it to Grace. Steve Rochlin, he spoke at BCivic a couple of years ago, and he changed my world because I was struggling with how to get connected to senior leadership that thought CSR was fluff and didn't see the business value.
I'm muted. Hi again, everyone.
Welcome back.
It was great to get to talk to some of you in the first breakout room. So thank you guys all so much. I'm going to reshare my screen. All right, so everyone should be able to see this, but thanks again, everyone, and welcome back. So I really hope that you had some great conversations. I know that I was feeling like really inspired and wanted to hear more from everyone in my room, but I'd love to hear from our two room leads about some high-level themes or anything they took away from the session. And if you have something that you really want to share that you heard in your session, please feel free to drop that in the chat and share with everyone. So Amber, I'd love to hear what you thought of your room.
Yeah, so I think a couple of the big takeaways was having support, either management or C-level, really gives you the opportunity to launch your program. But we were just discussing that, if you don't have that access, you can still start the process, start working your way up the ladder. And if you have a really great business case and passion for getting CSR started in your company, it's definitely doable. I think another common thread that we were able to talk about is everyone does like to start with these gigantic plans, and you want to be involved in every single building block that we had discussed earlier, but it's important to sort of zero in and focus on a few. Grace, like you said, be really great at a few things, and then you can start working your way towards additional goals. So it was nice to hear how everyone is sort of planning and in the middle of their CSR program build.
Thanks, Amber. And Andrew, is there anything that you want to share from your session?
Sure. We talked a lot about reporting. Reporting is definitely a pain point. And then any virtual opportunities, certainly leaning on my Ohio United way to help out with that, but how to continue to keep employees engaged and help them out. We talked a little bit about diversity and inclusion and how that's going. I posed a question about how are people adjusting to things like COVID, supporting communities in that regard, and racial and social injustice. And so Dee and I came in the conversation. We also talked about having a home office that might be somewhere else at a national level, and having regional offices or city-focused offices, and how do you connect with those? How do you kind of follow the marching orders of the national office and their vibe and their mission, but also be real to what your Denver feels like, or your Colorado, and what your employees are experiencing. And the communications seem to come to the top as far as keeping that voice of your city or your state.
Wow, you guys must have had a really great session. I'm excited to watch that recording because I know that I have a lot to learn from you guys too. So thank you both so much for leading those sessions. And now that we, dropped a bunch of information on you and hopefully gotten you guys really inspired to go out into the world and build and refine that program, there's just a couple next steps that you can take to make sure that you use this as a launching point. So a great thing to do is make a plan. If you're just starting out, make that calendar like we mentioned earlier. Start with a little plan if you need to run it up the ladder. Just put some concrete goals and things on paper to really help you build that foundation. Another thing you can do is schedule 30 minutes with a Mile High United Way team member. If you already work with us, you have our emails and feel free to reach out to us. But if you're new to us, we'd love to talk to you. We really do want to be here to be a partner and helping you build that program and help you make a bigger difference in your community. So please feel free to email us if you have our contact info, or you can email me and I can get you connected. Also, we will have all of this recorded and shared online within about a week. So keep an eye on your email, and we have also lots of great resources already on our website under corporate services, and then we have corporate resources under there. So feel free to take a look. We'll include some of those links in our follow-up. But we just want to let you know that there's a ton of stuff out there, and we want you to use it. And then also, Andrea and Amber have graciously offered to be available if anyone wants to talk to them after this. I'm happy to connect you if you'd like to talk to them. They are fantastic people to work with, fantastic resources. So I'm very excited and very thankful that they are willing to continue to work with you guys if you're interested. And then, of course, we'd love to see you at any of our other sessions. We have one more today at 2 o'clock, correct?
Yes.
Great. I don't even know what day of the week it is. So we have another one at 2 o'clock with Marissa. It's going to be a great session. And then we have another one tomorrow about data at noon. So we can send out the info for that, but we're hoping to see a lot of you guys there. And just one more thank you to Amber and Andrea. I love working with you both. When I first met you in our certification class almost 2 years ago, I didn't know that I'd have the pleasure of working with you again. So thank you so much. We're really inspired by all the work that you do. But thank you everyone so much for being here, and we hope to talk to you all soon. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Thanks, Grace.
Thanks so
Have a good
much.
one.
Take care.